Hi guys, welcome to the Aspie world. This is my second video. Apologies for not commenting on videos because for some reason I'm not able to comment on the videos yet, so once I've got my comment privileges back I will be commenting. This video is a response video to an email I've had from somebody who would like some advice for some experiences from me in my life as I was growing up. One of the questions I was asked is if there was anything that I'd prefer whilst being a teenager that would make me comfortable or happy in my routines. So when I was a teenager it was quite hard because I wasn't diagnosed until my 20s, so it was hard for my parents to understand what was wrong. I mean, things that I liked that was good for me to feel comfortable was like really simple foods and having the same simple foods again with no question really, because when people start questioning it becomes awkward and you feel uncomfortable because you don't want to explain why you only like simple foods. I mean, I spent a lot of time creating music when I was in my teens and researching UFOs, so when I was left on my own to do that, that was very good because I was able to just be in my own company, and that was good really. But things to avoid really was my parents were always trying to force me to kind of go out and try and get a job as a teenager, but they didn't realise that it was really hard to try and talk to people when you know, try and work in a working environment is really difficult for me, especially when you're a teenager and you have small jobs. And they were always trying to push me to go out to busy places on my own, but I couldn't do that. So they were they weren't really understanding because they didn't know. But I think that if you have a child who has Asperger's or has any of the symptoms that I've mentioned before, then maybe try and understand that. Ask them what makes them feel comfortable. I guess to me it was doing things that I liked, like creating music, playing different instruments and researching UFOs and being with myself a lot in my own space. It was the best thing I could have done really, you know, with a lot of quiet and something that I enjoy doing. So I was asked by this viewer what my experiences were like in school, so I'll basically go over what my experiences were like in primary school and secondary school. So in primary school I was kind of picked on quite a bit for being quite nerdy and very quiet. I only had one friend my entire time in school. I didn't like birthday parties. My parents would try and put on birthday parties and invite my friends over, but they didn't understand why I didn't want loads of people around me and loads of noise, and it was just really uncomfortable. I used to stay indoors at playtimes. I never used to play outside with other children. I used to stay indoors, especially when it was too overwhelming. I couldn't go outside at all. I couldn't even go to the swimming centre when you had swim time with school. I was very afraid. My parents used to escort me to and from the school, even to a point where some children were able to start learning how to walk themselves to and from school because we lived in quite a small area. But I could never do that. It was very confusing to know how to get to and from school, and more to the point I didn't feel safe or secure without my parents being there to get to and from the school. I used to play with computers a lot in school, but I was in school in the early 90s, so in primary school in the early 90s, and the computers weren't that good, and I knew that at the time, but it was the best we could do. But I was quite fascinated in robots, virtual reality and Lego, and that's all I wanted to do. And I built a lot of electronic equipment whilst I was in my primary school days, and I also tried to simulate a virtual reality environment in my bedroom once, but obviously the technology wasn't available then, so I wasn't actually able to do this. High school got quite interesting. I didn't have many friends in high school because I was quite nerdy still in high school. I was quite interested in science, that kind of stuff, but I was having difficulties learning. It was really hard in high school to understand how the teachers were presenting the information. So I have a problem with commands. When people say something to me, it's hard to understand exactly what they want. Sometimes I don't get the right thing. I have to ask them a couple of times to understand what they mean, which is quite confusing. But they said I had dyslexia and then short-term memory loss. You know, my big part of high school was I just started to learn music at that time, and then I was able to stay indoors, you know, 5 hours a night and just, you know, learn different instruments and learn different types of music and stuff. So by the age of 15, 16, I was a fully competent professional bass player and I was earning a lot of money in tribute bands and you know, playing all over the country really. So that was cool. Another question, the viewer asked, if I was to invent a school, what would it be like and how would it be done? If I was to invent a school, especially for people with Asperger's, I would say that there would be a screening process to find out what you're interested in and what you're good at, and then you will just learn what you're good at. Obviously have the basics, maths and English in there, you know, but what you're really good at, just focus on that, and then use computers to grab the resources and let you kind of invent what you need to invent, or research what you really want to research, because I think that's going to get the best out of people with potential, especially in a subject of their complete interest. So that's how I would do it. The other question the viewer had asked me is it, you know, should she try and push her son who has Asperger's to meet new people, try new things and go to new places? And what I would say to that is no, because my parents tried to make me obviously meet new people when I was growing up, and it was quite irritating and confusing, and going to new places is always a challenge. So I would say that leave people alone. If they don't want to go anywhere, then they'll have good reason, and I guess they'll tell you when they're ready to meet new people, and I guess they will meet new people when they want to, or they'll go to new places when they want to, or maybe they just don't want to try things. I for one don't try many new things at all really, because there's no real point. If you're happy with what you have, then there's no real point in having anything more really, so I wouldn't push anyone to do it. The viewer also asked me this question. Sometimes she invites people around to the house so her son with Asperger's can have, you know, some socialising, but this isn't always good, because I feel that the house is my place of security, and that it's where I can be free and do what I want to do. So it's very invasive when people invite other people into that kind of world and try to make you do things. For example, an experience I had like this was my parents enrolled me in some kind of government analysation process, where they come around and ask people just for statistical data, I guess, and they needed to come and check up. And so the first time I did it, I was maybe about 6, and then this gentleman asked me about 17 million questions, and I really didn't want to answer these questions, but my mum said that was helping the government and stuff, so I did it. And then she said, don't worry, that'll never happen ever again, you don't need to worry about that. And I was like, okay. And then when I was like 10 or 11, the gentleman again from this company came around and asked questions again, so I did the statistical data then, and then she said, don't worry, she'll definitely never have to do this again. And then when I was about 15, this person came again to the house, and I said to my mum that I'm not going to do it, because you've lied to me about having, you know, nobody coming into my world and listening to, having my thoughts on their paper. I didn't want that, because it's not good. It's the only place I could really relax and have my time for myself. So I was really angry about it, and I didn't do it in the end, and I told the person to go away, and he was quite annoyed. But at the end of the day, that it's my world that I was living in there securely, so it's the only time I've got for myself, you know, where else can I go? So I would say don't really bring people around to the house to try and have your son involved in socialising. I would say the best thing to do is wait until he wants to make friends. I'm sure he'll tell you when he's ready, because I made friends with musicians when I was ready. So, you know, if he's ready, then he's ready. If not, then just leave him, because that's all we want, I guess, is space. And especially from my experiences, just space, and accepting that I don't want to do things that everyone else wants to do is the best thing for it. Thanks for watching my video, everybody, and if you have any suggestions of videos, just please email me, theaspieworld@gmail.com, or you can just leave a comment and then I'll pick it up and make a video. I'm going to be doing more videos on some of my experiences of growing up and things that I think can help people, definitely.